Ringo Starr, the legendary drummer of the Beatles, holds a special place in music history as the steady heartbeat behind one of the most influential bands of all time. From the moment he replaced Pete Best in 1962, Ringo brought not only rhythm but also personality to the group, shaping their sound in ways that often went unnoticed but were always felt. His style was never about flashy solos or overwhelming complexity. It was about making the song stronger, tighter, and more alive. Today, when fans and musicians celebrate him, they point to that rare quality, his ability to make music feel better just by being behind the kit. But the story doesn't stop there. Even as one of the most admired drummers in history, Ringo himself has always remained humble, quick to point out the players who inspired him. And when asked to name his favorite drummer of all time, his answer has been consistent: Jim Keltner. Ringo's style and influence. What made Ringo stand out in the 1960s was his natural feel for music. He played with what many describe as a windshield wiper motion, his arms moving in a way that made the rhythm look as fluid as it sounded. He often leaned into the beat with his shoulders, adding an almost dance-like sway that gave the music its heartbeat. His contribution wasn't about complicated fills, but about subtle touches: the crisp drive of Ticket to Ride, the explosive rolls in She Loves You, or the complex rhythm of Rain, which many drummers still study today. Ringo defined the difference between playing the drums and playing for the song, a lesson that modern legends like Dave Grohl and Phil Collins have openly praised. The praise of peers. Over the decades, Ringo has earned the admiration of generations of drummers. Foo Fighters' Dave Grohl once said, "Ringo was the king of feel." Great drumming can be measured by technique, but Ringo defined it by the emotion it brought to the song. Studio veteran Jim Keltner himself, the man Ringo later named his favorite, admitted that countless session players tried to capture the Beatles' drummer's unique sense of timing. Even Paul McCartney and George Harrison credited Ringo's approach as the glue that held their songs together. Despite these accolades, Ringo has always been quick to shrug off the praise with his trademark modesty, often saying he just played what was needed. Enter Jim Keltner. So who could a drummer like Ringo possibly look up to? His answer has long been Jim Keltner, the American session great. Born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in 1942, Keltner built his reputation quietly, not through front-and-center fame, but by elevating the work of others. He became known as the drummer's drummer, with an uncanny ability to slip into any style, whether it was rock, folk, jazz, or blues. His resume reads like a Hall of Fame tour. Bob Dylan, Neil Young, Steely Dan, Joni Mitchell, Tom Petty, and members of the Beatles themselves. Biographer Howard Soonens once called him the top session drummer in America, a title few dispute. The Ringo Keltner connection. Ringo first worked with Keltner in 1973 during the recording of his solo album Ringo, which also featured contributions from George Harrison and John Lennon. The chemistry between them was instant. Unlike many who might have been intimidated by a Beatle, Keltner played with ease, bringing out the best in Ringo while never overshadowing him. That collaboration blossomed into a lifelong friendship, with the two often sharing the stage and studio. Over time, Ringo began referring to Keltner not only as a friend, but as his all-time hero drummer. He explained it simply: "Jim is my all-time hero drummer. Nobody can match his talent. I love Jim," and that says all: legacy of admiration. Ringo's acknowledgement of Jim Keltner says as much about him as it does about Keltner. For all his fame and influence, Ringo has always seen himself as part of a community of musicians rather than above it. His choice reflects his humility and his deep respect for those who bring passion and authenticity to the craft of drumming. While many would place Ringo himself on the top of the list, he prefers to point to another, a reminder that even legends have their own heroes. Conclusion. In the end, Ringo Starr's story is not just about being a Beatle or about redefining what rock drumming could be. It's also about his humility, his joy in music, and his constant acknowledgement that greatness comes from many corners. By naming Jim Keltner as his favorite drummer of all time, Ringo shows us that even the icons we admire have their own inspirations. It's a reminder that music is less about competition and more about connection. So now we ask you, who is your favorite drummer of all time? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories about the legends of music.